What's going on, guys? Bexio back, and today we got a brand new video on plug power because the end of the week was a massive green pump for plug. Did a very well at the end here after all the news and everything. The whole market did pretty well, but we know plug made acquisitions. They were pushing forward their company, looking into the future and long-term things. But we can look at how maybe this week might shape up for plug and the entire market as a whole. But before we get into that, if you are not subscribed, make sure that you smash that sub button because we're on the road to 1,000 subscribers. But we can look at Plug Power's price chart right here because we can see here, right, the daily approaching this red channel yet again. The last time we did this, we got above it and we got to close above it twice, but never an entire candle. Ultimately fell back out all the way back down to 1906 here, this white line, and bounced off of this. It went a little bit lower than it from all the news, but ultimately recovered very hard and continued moving up. We're about $1 away at this point from this red channel, getting back into it. And we know this is going to be pretty difficult to get into because this section right here shows us that it was a very strong support level while we were here, and it ultimately bounced off it 3 times to launch into a pretty good rally here. But because it was such a strong support level, means it's going to be a pretty strong resistance level here. We can already see almost challenged it once here already, bounced off it here, tried to get above it, came back off. So that's 2 guaranteed interactions, almost 3. And the more times that we challenge this line, the weaker it's going to get, and the easier it's starting to get to get back over it. So hopefully we can see us get a full candle close. A couple full candles within this channel would be what we're looking for. But if we zoom in a bit here to the 30-minute, you can see the news and everything. This crashed down. Weird candles here with a massive pump and then just opened way lower, but then resumed its rally. And it's on a pretty big tear here. If we put this trend line just kind of from this candle, we can do one like right here, basically what we're riding. So we can keep an eye on that in the 30-minute, see if we just continue bouncing off of this and moving up, going into this 2363 range. Not really make or break for anything here. It's just gonna be more interesting or not to see if it does. But the rally, very good. But plug is not immune to the rest of the market. So we can look at one thing here to look at the rest of the market, try and get maybe a feel for what might be happening or upcoming in the market, and that is Bitcoin, because Bitcoin trades 24/7, 365. So on days like today, when the market's closed but leading into a day where it's going to open, Bitcoin is going to be an asset that reacts to things first and shows maybe where the market is going to head overall going into this first trading day. So we can see down 3% right now. It was down 5% earlier, so a little bit of recovery. So keep an eye on it. It's not going to tell a whole story, but I do think Bitcoin going into the trading week kind of gives an idea of where the market might go that day. So right now, we're looking like we might be actually down. We might have a downward move in the market, which plug is not going to be immune to. So probably opening a little down for plug as well. Not going to go directly to this 23 level, challenge it, and try and get over it. So right now, Bitcoin moving down could be an indicator for the rest of the market is going to have a little bit of a move down come market open. Not necessarily, not a guarantee, just something I like to look at because Bitcoin trades 24/7. So it reacts to things first, especially on going into trading weeks. It's going to kind of get the sentiment in on how people might be feeling before the week actually kicks off. And we can look at if plug power, is it bull or bear, how everyone's feeling. This article kind of breaks it down for us a little bit here. So a little bit introduction of plug and all of this stuff, but some of the bear or bull cases are very good. Like plug is a first mover in the industry. So should hydrogen really take off, which a lot of people think that it will, that plug is a first mover, they're going to have the first mover advantage. They are going to be the company that is going to get the majority of the market, kind of like Tesla and EVs. Tesla has the majority of the market there, and it rotates around Tesla. Everybody knows Tesla's name. People might come in try and get EVs, but people want Teslas. So in the same way of hydrogen, if hydrogen goes off, Plug will be able to be a main supplier of not only the hydrogen itself, but also the fuel cells to get the hydrogen started. So it's just going to be pretty good for them. And I think hydrogen, and a lot of people are looking at hydrogen as a growing market. And then, as we know, the big challenge for Plug Power is converting expertise and experience into real profits. They've been around for a long time, not really been able to do that yet, but it's been looking much, much better in recent years with their acquisitions, their balance sheet, and their expanding revenue and growing revenue. And then markets they're moving into with higher potential markets are commercial vehicles, stationary power, aerospace, and multiple deals lately to that effect. So there's a lot of things going on in Plug, a lot more than just kind of making hydrogen, supplying it. They're getting deals with aerospace stuff, airplanes, all of that things. Shipping is going to be big that they can get into. Heavy trucks, heavy equipment, stationary power could be very big, and then commercial vehicles. Definitely, but like the regular everyday person's vehicles, those are going to be the toughest market to kind of get into, especially if Teslas and EVs kind of really take that. So I still think there's a good chance that Plug and hydrogen can get into that market, because you don't have to retrain people on how to charge their car at night or plug in their car at night and do all that stuff. But that might end up not being a big deal, but it's not ultimately a big deal to Plug either if they can't dominate kind of like a regular car market. And you see 2025, they're expected to generate $3 billion in revenue, an operating expense of 17% or more. That is massive numbers, considering 2024 was supposed to be their year. They're profitable. That's supposed to be when they make $1 billion, and they've upped that to way over $1 billion, like $1.5 billion, somewhere around there to right now. So if they go from $1.5 billion to $3 billion in 1 year, massive jump. It would be great and show that Plug's moving in the right direction. They've already shown that on a smaller time period with their revenue growing quarter over quarter, continue to grow year over year, and everything kind of moving in the right direction. But if they take big leaps like that, like doubling revenue from $1.5 billion to $3 billion in 1 year, would be a massive jump and would be great for Plug Power. And then a big thing that we talk about all the time that Plug has that rivals don't is cash. So this from September 30th, they have $3.4 billion in cash and cash equivalents, and long-term debt of around $1.2 billion. So their debt is way lower than their cash on hand. They're just set up with a super strong balance sheet. They can last the interest rate hikes. They can last anything that's thrown at them to get to profitability, which should happen at 2024. If it doesn't, then we have something else we have to look at and see what's really going on. But from their balance sheet perspective, they have cash to last. They have cash to acquire companies that we've seen them already do, and their rivals and other people in the space just don't even stand up to Plug's balance sheet and the cash they have. So, that's a major advantage that Plug has. And then just some of the bear things going on is, fuel cells could be a better option for heavy duty stuff, aviation, shipping, and stationary power, but not really for the market of like everyday people. Kind of like Tesla, EVs are already going into that market, kind of taking over, but hydrogen and fuel cell things might not be able to penetrate that market like EVs did. So it's just not a revenue source that might be able to come in for them. As well as you look up here and see 20,000 fuel cell vehicles were sold globally compared to 6 million electric vehicles. So you come into obviously more problems in the residential kind of everyday person vehicles, but in other things it is better than EVs, because EVs are very heavy. But also a problem that you could come into with EVs is if it becomes very, very difficult to make these batteries. You see Tesla's on back order for months and months right now, because getting the required materials to make batteries, to make all this stuff, to make the chips, very difficult. And if you can't get the supplies to make it, then you can't have an EV. but you could make hydrogen and have hydrogen no problem, have the fuel cells, and just be people fueling up their fuel cells just like they would with gas and everything. So it might have a little bit of an advantage there if supplies start to hit EVs and slow down production. Then you could turn to hydrogen stuff and seeing if they're not weighed down like EVs are and can be produced still, then it might be a little bit of an advantage for hydrogen there. So goes both ways, but definitely Plug in the bull scheme of hydrogen. Plug is the best positioned company in there to grow and take advantage of everything. That's going to do it for this video. Still bullish on Plug Power long term. We'll have to see how everything plays out. But short term, the market, maybe we see a little bit of red opening in the beginning weeks here. But see what actually happens. If Plug can get into that red channel, it would be great. But as always, don't forget to smash the like button and subscribe. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers. See you guys in my next video.